in Studio B.
Hey, Joe, thanks. Yeah, this is Roland in Studio B, where live broadcasts are made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. And a great big welcome today to the Mastersons. Hey, folks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming. What's it been, maybe a couple years since you were here the last
Yeah,
time?
since the last record, for sure.
Yeah, was that, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were playing, I think, Orange Peel with Steve Earl, and we drove over. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, a brand new record out, No Time for Love Songs. It sounds great.
Thanks. It's out March 6th.
March 6th. Wow. Cool. Well, we get a little. We've been playing it some here, and we get a nice taste of it today too.
Well,
so
we sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's your first song today?
We're gonna play a track, or play a song called "Eyes Open Wide."
All right, that's the Mastersons playing live today at WNCW, and that song is called "Eyes Open Wide," which is, I guess, the single for the new record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Tell us about the record. Been 3 years in the making, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a solid 3 years. I was reading like this thing the other day about studio myths, like when you see, such and such was 3 years in the making. It's like, well, obviously most of us all have to tour and play shows so we can keep the lights on or pay for said records. So we actually made the record really quick.
2 weeks in the making.
Yeah, I mean that's about what it.
Is it 3 years worth of songs though?
Yeah, for sure. We've been writing for a few years, kind of getting our thoughts together for this record, and we had a pretty big pile of songs and kind of whittled it down between what we thought we should do and what Shooter thought we should do.
Is that hard to do? If you
It is, because they're like little song babies, and so you can't put them all on a record.
Well, it's so strange because an author, might have a manuscript for something, and they'll go through rounds of editing, whether it be conceptual and, trimming it down or adding it, elaborating on certain spots.
Throwing away a beautiful sentence, right?
Right. And then it goes to copy editing, where as us songwriters, we're a sensitive lot, and, we never want to adjust anything. But that's where, having a producer, you trust, especially when you're a band that's a married couple, we need a tiebreaker. So Shooter Jennings stepped in and assumed that role.
That's pretty cool. So that you worked with Shooter Jennings on the new record.
Yeah, we'd done back a decade ago. We'd done a couple records with him. Family Man and The Other Life, we played on them. And then we never shared a stage with him because we'd been out with Steve Earle and our thing. And then at the end of 2018, I guess he called me and asked if we were home in L.A. to do this Tanya Tucker record with he and Brandy Carlisle. And it was one of the first times we weren't gone. I was like, we're actually home and we can do this. So we started 2019 out at Sunset Sound working with Shooter and Brandy and Tanya, and that's when we decided to work with Shooter at Sunset Sound again and finish our year out there.
And Tanya's record just got Country Album of the Year at the Grammys, so we're pretty stoked to be on that.
Yeah, that was a wonderful record for sure. So, yeah. What's different about this record? Maybe the production or the writing, or what?
The production is different, and the writing's different. The thing about Shooter is you can't really pin him down. He's got a pretty extensive crown box of colors and touchstones and things that he's into. So, he was when we were working on the Tanya record, he was working with Marilyn Manson by night, and so we kind of did what felt right to us and for this record. But we made it in California, so there's definitely kind of some Laurel Canyon elements with the 12 strings.
And comes into play. Like that song was kind of full of Rickenbacker 12 string. When we were all said and done, we realized there was no pedal steel on the record, which wasn't a conscious decision. But we were like, well, the pedal steel's been replaced with a Mellotron.
I was going to say, I mean, you've been living in Tennessee and places in Nashville. And
never lived in Tennessee. We store our gear there.
Okay.
But, so from Texas to New York, back to
Austin,
Texas,
right?
and then Los Angeles.
Yeah, but out to L.A., that's gotta you gotta be different, right? When you're living in L.A. and playing music in L.A.
I lived there in the mid '90s, and we actually lived next door to where I lived then. So it was kind of just. It felt like it was meant to be. We've been back out there for about 3 years, and but we still have family in Texas, and we have a place down in West Texas in the desert. So we move around a lot.
Yeah, you pull the pedal steel back out when you you go there?
I mean, I have one sitting in my living room. Like I said, it wasn't. You just kind of do what the songs call for, and but with Shooter, he's a wonderful piano player. So he sat at the piano, and we kind of would gather around the piano and learn a song, and then go back to our stations, and just did what the songs called for, and I don't know.
Yeah, let's. It's fun to talk about. Let's get another one. Maybe we'll
Cool.
pull some more tidbits out. The Mastersons are playing live today. It's called No Time for Love Songs.
And this one's called So Impossible. And this is a good example of how, even though we're Southern, it's like I always say we love Ray Davies as much as we love Ray Price. So this song would totally fit that. It's So Impossible.
All right, So Impossible is the name of the song. The Mastersons playing new music today here on WNCW. Chris, I'm so glad you said Ray Davies, because it just helped me get a better handle on what I've always kind of thought of your music. You go and play with Steve Earle and all that stuff, and you like Americana, but it's that whole other feel to it, isn't there?
Absolutely. I just sort of think of it as, it's this one big box. Like one of my favorite record stores is in Austin, Texas. It's called Waterloo Records, and they don't have, things aren't grouped by genre. It's just alphabetical,
Sure.
and that's what we do with our record collection at home. So we were actually had a playlist going the other day, and it's one of those, like, I think Spotify is like your mix or something.
Right.
We were like, wow, this is eclectic, but I like.
It was all over the
But
map.
I guess it's just what we listen to left to our own devices.
I've had listeners who are out there going, man, I'd like to see that playlist.
I know, and our label always tells us you should share that stuff, but we need an intern.
All right. When you're writing, do you guys, how much collaboration, how much individually, how do the songs kind of take shape?
Well, we are pretty much together all the time. We rarely get a day apart, and so
we did have
kind
Steve start getting us our own hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So we still like
so
each other.
every once in a while, we might come up with a melodic idea or a line separately, but inevitably we're together and end up finishing the song together. So yeah, all the songs on this record are written together. I think I've written one song without him in the past 10 years. So
like 10 years, that's how long you've been out with Steve Earle, and how long you guys have been together. That's like a nice round number now.
Yeah, we've been married for 10 years, been a band for about 10 years. And definitely celebrating that much time with Steve. So it's a good milestone.
What's it like going from touring with Steve to doing your own thing? Is it just like what you do, or is it really two different?
Well, we get off of his nice tour bus and we get into our minivan. But you have a little bit more freedom with the van. You can make more stops and take some detours and, find some fun restaurants or,
Vintage
stuff to
clothing
do. Yeah, vintage
stores
clothing
and
stores.
good restaurants, and I don't know. I've always enjoyed both, and I think that's it keeps you humble on one level, because we'll play smaller venues and take care of our own stuff. But I don't know. But I'm also really proud of what we've done in a decade and what we get to do, and it's
I had read that Steve Earle was the one who urged you to start making music together.
He absolutely was. I mean, well, he really, we were already making music together, but when we got his gig, and it was probably around 2009, we knew we were going to go out with him the following year, and he just said, I'm going to feature you guys on the show. You better have a record ready. So he gets a lot of credit for that, for sure.
Wow, well, it sounds great. The Mastersons are playing live today. Again, this brand new record, which is called No Time for Love Songs. You had told me, and I didn't write it down, but you've got a date coming up in Asheville in April. Is that right?
We do. We're just kind of announcing this today. We're playing at ISIS Music Hall in Asheville on April 5th.
April 9th.
April 9th.
April 9th.
April 9th.
Mark your calendars now.
At ISIS Music Hall. I think it's an early show, a 7 o'clock show.
And we'll have my sister Bonnie Whitmore will be joining us as our special guest.
And I think tickets just went on sale today.
I actually just heard her on the radio on our drive-in. She was singing on one of the new John Moreland tracks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice record. And just in case people are curious, the Mastersons are on their way up to Mountain Stage up in West Virginia, so stop by today to share the good music with us.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your next song?
This one's called There Is a Song to Sing, and it's kind of about finding joy in turbulent times. Is that on? No, hang on.
All right, you're listening to live music on WNCW, the Mastersons. There is a song to sing. That's a beautiful song.
Thanks.
Yeah, I should introduce y'all. Chris Masterson is on guitar and vocals, and Eleanor Whitmore on guitar and violin and mellotron and all the vocals and all that stuff.
I think tenor guitar
I'll have to
too.
pick
on
up a
the
tenor
next one.
guitar.
Tenor guitar, yeah.
This
She's
record
busy on
has
this tour.
complicated my world.
but no pedal steel. Let's just make that
Right.
clear. I read an interview somewhere that you said through the songs on this record, you hope to lead with kindness and empathy, and I thought that was a really neat idea.
Well, I mean, the record started, we'll finish the title track, but the record started with, we started to talk about what do you want to sing about in a record that's coming out in the spring of 2020, and an arguably pivotal time for us as a country, as friends and neighbors and sons and daughters and sisters and brothers, and where people are so divided. And we definitely have our views and our thoughts, and we're definitely not afraid to use the microphones that we've been graciously given to share those. But one thing that we really hoped to interject and that people take away from a show or listening to our record is that we can all do this and still be kind and share love and empathy for one another, because I think we're all far more similar than we are different, and I don't think that the media isn't letting us do that, and I think that people on both sides of the aisle are getting it's getting a little ugly out there, and I think that I don't know.
Let's just be nice and kind to each other.
I mean, music has always been that place where people can come together in ways where sometimes there's other places they can't. It's always
well, and I obviously working with Steve Earle, we've learned a lot, and we wholeheartedly believe in art and activism. But that said, I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we come out of the gate too polarizing, and that's not that wasn't the aim with this. I think I respect anyone that comes out to a show. I see all kinds of people at concerts, and I think about what it costs for them to maybe get a sitter and get an Uber and buy a couple tickets and dinner before, and I think everybody, regardless of who they're voting for, deserves a good evening, and I hope we can share that with some people.
What about the title track? The title of the record.
So we were driving along somewhere and listening to the radio, and a song came on about whiskey, and I said, if I hear another song about whiskey, I'm going to stab myself. And he was like, well, that's a little harsh, and I was like, God, like there's like a million songs about whiskey, and I like whiskey, but we don't necessarily need to write those kind of songs anymore. And there's just a lot of cliches that you think about in Americana music, and that's definitely one of them. And
so the song really started out sort of tongue-in-cheek about that, avoiding some of those this year. And we'll probably get back to our resumed scheduled program after this record.
But yeah, so this is, we wrote this song when the Amazon was on fire, and I think they just now finally got the fires contained in Australia. So, it's like the world is on fire. There's a lot of really important things that we need to be talking about and figuring out right now. So that's kind of what this song is about.
All right, the Mastersons. That one is called No Time for Love Songs, and it's the title of the new record. April 9th at the ISIS Music Hall in Asheville.
April 9th at ISIS Music Hall,
and
7 p.m.
When will your Mountain Stage show air? Do you know?
I don't. I think they air that stuff live. Maybe video
Right.
cast probably on the Mountain Stage website, but I'm not sure when the episode airs.
So that's coming up this Sunday, though.
This Sunday, yeah.
Love the new record. It sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and come again whenever.
We will. Thanks.
All right, safe travels.
Thank you
The
all.
Mastersons live on WCW. Live broadcasts are made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.